Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders went into Week 3 against the Las Vegas Raiders knowing their tight end depth was about to be tested in a way it hadn't been all season. John Bates, a reliable figure in their offensive scheme, was ruled out with a groin injury, leaving the team without one of their most dependable blockers and possession targets. In his absence, the spotlight shifted to two players few outside Washington's fan base had paid much attention to, rookie Ben Sinnott and the versatile Colson Yankoff. For a team still building its identity under head coach Dan Quinn, this game wasn't just about beating the Raiders. It was about discovering whether the next men up could deliver under pressure, and the story that unfolded gave the Commanders a glimpse into a possible future they hadn't fully envisioned yet. From the opening drives, there was a sense of uncertainty around how the offense would adapt. Bates isn't a flashy star by league standards, but his role is understatedly crucial, whether sealing the edge against towering defensive ends or slipping into space for a quick check down. He does the dirty work that rarely gets headlines but often keeps drives alive. Replacing that kind of reliability is never simple. Yet Quinn and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury made it clear that this wasn't going to be about plugging a hole with a like-for-like swap. They were intent on designing a scheme that maximized the unique skills of Sinnott, particularly his athleticism and speed off the line. The idea wasn't to ask him to be Bates, it was to let him be himself. And when the ball was snapped, that's exactly what happened. Sinnott looked like a player who had been waiting for this very moment. Instead of being swallowed up by the physicality of defensive linemen, he used quickness and agility to win his matchups early. He wasn't just reacting. He was attacking, cutting loose with a brand of aggressiveness that jumped off the tape. At times he looked raw, sure, but there was an undeniable energy in the way he surged into the second level, beating defenders to their spots and creating mismatches the Raiders weren't prepared for. For a young player suddenly thrust into an NFL spotlight, this was more than a respectable showing. It was the kind of performance that can change a coach's trust and a fan base's perception. Quinn himself admitted afterward that he was impressed not only with Sinnott's composure, but with how naturally the offense adjusted around him. It was the most he's played and also the best he's played, Quinn said, almost marveling at how both things aligned in such a critical moment. He talked about how games often evolve in unpredictable ways, how coaches might lean into a strength if it shows itself, and how against the Raiders the run game began to flow largely because Sinnott was creating opportunities with his movement and energy. For Quinn, the pride wasn't just in the box score. It was in seeing a player embrace his chance, shake off the nerves, and impose his will in situations where he could have easily been overwhelmed. Yankoff, meanwhile, played a quieter but no less significant role. While Sinnott grabbed the attention with bursts of athleticism, Yankoff's contributions were about steady execution. He lined up in different spots, offered help and protection, and worked as a complementary piece to Sinnott's more explosive moments. That balance was critical because when a team loses a starter like Bates, the burden isn't on one player alone. It takes multiple guys stepping up in different ways, and that's exactly what happened. For Quinn and Kingsbury, it was proof their depth wasn't just theoretical. It was functional, and it could survive the kind of mid-season adversity that tends to define NFL campaigns. Still, the underlying drama here is what Bates' injury means going forward. Groin injuries are notoriously tricky, and while the Commanders haven't set a concrete timetable, there's a real possibility he misses more than just a week or two. That means this wasn't just a cameo for Sinnott. It could be an extended audition. Every snap he takes from here on out is another opportunity to prove he can be more than a backup, that he can force his way into a larger role even when Bates returns. These are the crossroads moments in young careers. Play well enough, and the coaches have no choice but to keep you involved. For Washington, that possibility is both exciting and nerve-wracking. Exciting because discovering unexpected depth at tight end could add new layers to Kingsbury's offense. Nerve-wracking because the NFC East is unforgiving and relying on young players to carry consistent workloads always comes with risk. One week's breakout can be another week's disappointment if a defense adjusts, and the Commanders know the Atlanta Falcons in Week 4 will be studying Sinnott's tape closely ready to test whether his performance was a fluke or the start of something more lasting. Fans, of course, are caught between cautious optimism and full-on hype. In a league where narratives shift weekly, it's easy to get swept away by the idea of a hidden gem emerging from the shadows. Sinat's story has all the makings of a classic underdog tale. The backup no one expected much from suddenly becoming a spark in an offense searching for consistency. Whether that spark turns into a fire depends on how he handles the spotlight now that opponents know his name. But for Washington supporters who have long craved depth and resilience across the roster, this was a refreshing reminder that not every injury has to feel like a disaster. Sometimes it opens a door. And that's the beauty of the NFL's unforgiving schedule. Every week demands new answers, new heroes, and new adjustments. John Bates' absence forced Washington to confront its vulnerability at tight end. But instead of crumbling, the Commanders found resolve. Sinat and Yankoff didn't just survive, they thrived in moments that could have easily exposed them. Now, with a tougher test looming against Atlanta, the real question is whether this newfound depth can hold steady or even grow stronger. In a season where inches often separate success from failure, the Commanders just learned they might have more in their arsenal than they realized. So as Quinn and his team turn the page, preparing for Week 4, the takeaway from Week 3 is clear. Depth isn't just a word on the depth chart. It's a living, breathing reality that gets tested when least expected. Against the Raiders, Washington's tight ends passed their first exam with resilience and promise. The story isn't over, but for now, it feels like the Commanders have discovered something invaluable, not just a replacement for Bates, but a reminder of what it means to fight, adapt, and rise when opportunity calls. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. You're not going to believe the latest buzz coming out of Washington because things are heating up in a way that could completely reshape the NFC East landscape. Rumor has it, and this is the kind of whisper that has insiders leaning forward in their chairs, that Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Commanders, is more than just intrigued. He is reportedly buzzing with excitement over a move that might just redefine the way this team plays. According to sources close to the locker room, Quinn is practically glowing at the possibilities of a shift in the offense that could make the Commanders look like a different team overnight. And the name on everyone's lips is Tyreek Hill. Yes, the Tyreek Hill, the man whose speed alone forces defenses to rewrite their game plans, and who brings a level of explosiveness that could transform Washington's aerial attack from respectable to downright terrifying. The rumor mill suggests Quinn has been working behind the scenes, mapping out scenarios, envisioning the kind of offense he could run with a weapon like Hill, and the more he studies it, the more it seems like a perfect fit. Sources close to the team say Quinn has been using phrases like game-changing and another level when discussing what Hill's presence could mean, and insiders are already speculating that the playbook adjustments could be substantial, giving the Commanders an unpredictability factor that rivals any team in the league. The whispers don't stop there. One anonymous staffer allegedly close to the offensive coaching group hinted that the Commanders' attack, with Tyreek integrated, would be unrecognizable compared to last season. Imagine that for a moment. A squad that already had potential in its receiving core suddenly gaining a player whose speed and route-running precision force corners into nightmares. Quinn reportedly believes that with Hill, the entire offensive tempo could be transformed. No longer just a methodical, clock-controlled attack, but a dynamic, high-octane offense capable of flipping the field in an instant. People around the team are reportedly buzzing about deep shots, quick slants, jet sweeps, and end-around plays that weren't possible before. And yes, there's speculation that even the running game could benefit, because when defenses are scared of Hill streaking down the sideline, it opens lanes that just weren't there before. The team's insiders are reportedly calling it a 360-degree upgrade, a phrase that suggests Quinn sees Hill not just as a weapon, but as a pivot around which an entirely new strategy could be built. And let's talk about what this could mean for the quarterback situation, because that's where things get really juicy. The Commanders' QB has been under pressure to perform, and integrating a player like Hill could alleviate some of that stress. According to rumors, Quinn has been envisioning scenarios where the QB isn't just throwing to secondary targets, but is consistently looking at a game-breaking athlete capable of winning one-on-one battles downfield. Imagine a situation where defenders can't key on the running game, can't cheat toward short passes, and have to respect Hill's ability to take it 80 yards in a flash. The chatter suggests that Quinn has been meticulously analyzing the potential chemistry, the timing of throws, and the spacing of the routes. Insiders hint that some of the schemes being discussed could be radical departures from what the Commanders ran last season, incorporating jet motions, misdirections, and alignment shifts that exploit Hill's acceleration and football IQ. In other words, the team might be looking at an offense that is not just more explosive but smarter, faster, and more unpredictable, making opposing defenses constantly second-guess themselves. And if the rumor is true, and again, take it with a pinch of salt because nothing is official yet, Dan Quinn is reportedly so fired up that some believe the team's spring practices might revolve around seeing how quickly they can integrate Hill into the offensive rhythm. There's also some murmur about how this potential acquisition is impacting the locker room vibe. Sources say the energy has shifted noticeably, with players feeding off the idea of a game-changer arriving. You can almost feel the ripple effect. Younger receivers reportedly feel inspired. The running backs might start envisioning bigger holes, and even the offensive line could be motivated by the thought of a fast-paced, unpredictable attack that demands more precise blocking schemes. And don't ignore the psychological impact on the defense. They hear rumors, they watch film, and suddenly the Commanders are the team with one of the most feared vertical threats in football. Insider chatter indicates that some team members have been openly calling this a turning point for the franchise, a move that could erase last season's frustrations and establish a new identity. Dan Quinn, for his part, is reportedly thrilled not just at the talent level, but at the cultural shift Hill could bring. It's the kind of energy that doesn't just change the XS and OS, but shifts the entire mentality of a team, making everyone believe that big plays are not just possible, but inevitable. Meanwhile, the speculation doesn't stop in Washington. Rival teams are allegedly already taking notice, and the rumor mill in the league office is buzzing with the implications. Coaches and GMs in other cities are supposedly scratching their heads, trying to figure out how the Commanders could exploit Hill's presence strategically. Some insiders claim that even commentators on major sports networks are quietly acknowledging that if this rumor pans out, Washington's offensive identity could pivot overnight. The market for defensive adjustments would explode, forcing schemes that might otherwise have been comfortable into uncharted territory. Analysts are reportedly debating whether this could make the Commanders legitimate Super Bowl contenders, or at the very least, a team that other playoff hopefuls can't ignore. And that's before you even get into the potential trickle-down effect on draft strategies and free agent acquisitions. If Quinn is serious about this, insiders suggest the front office might be willing to make moves to complement Hill's skills, potentially targeting secondary receivers, agile tight ends, and running backs who thrive in open space. It's the kind of domino effect that turns a single acquisition into a structural shift across the roster. Let's also consider the narrative of Quinn himself. He's not the type to overhype, which makes this rumor even more tantalizing. People close to him reportedly describe his enthusiasm as contagious, noting that he has been unusually vocal about the offensive possibilities in private meetings. This is a coach who knows how to maximize talent, and the whispers suggest he's already sketching plays on whiteboards, envisioning rotations, and simulating defenses that will have nightmares containing Hill. The sources hint that even veteran players are impressed by Quinn's apparent ability to think 2 steps ahead and to translate Hill's elite skill set into something cohesive, strategic, and terrifying for opponents. It's not just the raw speed, the agility, or the highlight reel plays. It's the way Quinn could weave all of it into a structure that makes the Commanders a nightmare to defend against. And if the rumors are accurate, this is the kind of transformation that doesn't happen overnight. It's the kind of evolution that could mark a turning point in Quinn's coaching career, redefining how the league perceives him and his team. Of course, there's still plenty of skepticism, as with any rumor of this magnitude. Nothing has been officially confirmed, and insiders caution that the story could shift at any moment. Negotiations, contracts, and logistical details always have the potential to derail even the most tantalizing scenarios. But what makes this particular rumor so electric is the consistency of the chatter. Multiple independent sources seem to be pointing in the same direction, hinting that the excitement is real and that Quinn's vision for the team could become a reality sooner rather than later. Fans, naturally, are already imagining highlight reels, deep passes, and game-breaking plays that could define the season. Social media is reportedly alive with speculation, with some hashtags and threads hinting that a Tyreek to Washington scenario might be more than just fantasy. The energy is palpable, and if even half of the rumor proves true, we could be witnessing the birth of a Commanders offense that is faster, smarter, and far more explosive than anything the league has seen from this team before. All of this leads us to an intriguing, tantalizing possibility. Washington could very well be on the cusp of a renaissance. A season where fans, players, and even rivals watch in awe as a team that previously had potential but lacked a true game-breaking element suddenly gains the kind of weapon that makes defenses sweat. The whispers say that Quinn's excitement is just the tip of the iceberg, that the real thrill will be watching how he implements, adapts, and elevates the offense with Hill in the mix. If the rumors hold, the Commanders aren't just adding a receiver. They're potentially transforming the team's identity, their play style, and the entire NFC East dynamics. And while we wait for official confirmation, the speculation, the imagination, and the sheer excitement have already taken hold. In a league where momentum, culture, and strategy can change on a dime, this rumor has all the makings of something huge, and Dan Quinn is reportedly at the center of it, grinning from ear to ear as he envisions a Commanders offense that no one sees coming. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.